How do you use techniques that you've learned previously, like maybe Psycho Cybernetics? How can you update them to where you are today to start to accelerate your manifesting? That's exactly what we're talking about today on Mindful Manifesting. Thanks so much for listening. This is Ariana Rollins, and this is another manifesting breakthrough session. And I have the beautiful Dominique calling in from South Africa. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you, Ariane. I'm so excited to be here.
I know this is the first time we've met, so maybe tell me just briefly what your business is, because I love working with entrepreneurs, so I know you're an entrepreneur.
Yes, so I am a teen and parent life coach, and my main focus is actually how to teach parents and teens to learn. So we all have different ways of learning and taking in information and understanding. And so my passion, I was a teacher before that for almost 20 years, and teaching all of these children, and a lot of them not understanding what they are learning because they're not learning in their best way possible. And so that's what I do. My focus is really to teach how to learn.
Oh, beautiful. Amazing. Well, this is really synchronistic because I did a manifesting breakthrough with my good friend Isla, and she also works with, mothers in particularly of sons. So if you want to listen to episode 74, this is Isla moving from doubt into leadership, and she may be a good collaborative partner for you. She's in Austin. And she's doing some really great work. I don't know. I just kind of got the chills. I think you guys could do some really fabulous things together. Okay.
That sounds delicious.
All right. So I just want to check to see, you did an intake question. These are the areas of your life you want to improve. Improve health and well-being, spiritual alignment, and make more money. Is that still correct?
Yes, that is.
Okay. I'd like to talk a little bit more about the spiritual alignment, because that's something that's near and dear to my heart. And I don't see a lot of people focusing on that, especially when I do these breakthrough sessions. Can you tell me a little more about that and what that would look like if you were operating from spiritual alignment?
So for me, spiritual alignment is really being comfortable with connecting with spirit. And, and for me, it's, I connect and then I disconnect, and then I connect and then I disconnect, and then I try new avenues, and then I try something else. And it's really about, for me, it's about understanding. I mean, I know it's a journey. I really, really know that it's a journey, but it's really about understanding why am I wanting to disconnect when things are flowing? And then when in times of desperation, I'm wanting to connect. And, for me, it's like when I'm in a good space, that's when I'm wanting to connect, because I'm at my highest vibration, because I'm at my best. And that's when I don't.
Oh my gosh, I really love your self-awareness. Oh, I knew this was going to be a great conversation. Okay, so this is going to flow a little different than I had anticipated. But one of the things that I've noticed for people who are self-aware and they notice I'm in my flow and life is going good, and you've got that kind of extra well-being that that's not coming from your physical body, but you're connected, right? You're aligned. Is that sometimes what can happen is that a part of us feels like things are going too good, and there's a concern that we can't maintain it, or there's a concern that, I'm just going to go so high in my vibration and my connection that my physical life is going to go to hell in a handbasket, and I'm not going to be able to work. I'm not going to be able to connect with people. And that thought, that fear just drags us right back down. Yes. Any feedback on that?
That is spot on for me, both of them. Absolutely,
okay.
Both. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to tune in where I want to go with this. Just a minute. Yeah, and then we'll talk about Psycho Cybernetics. I just got so excited to work with you. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is close your eyes, please. And if you're listening to the podcast, please don't close your eyes if you're driving. I'm going to walk you through a grounding exercise, Dominique, to get you connected to true self, spirit, soul. And then we're going to clear some energy. We're going to do a breakthrough, okay?
Okay.
All right. So beautiful. You're sitting nice and tall, spine straight, feet flat on the floor. Take a deep breath in of peace and calming energy. And exhale out the earlier part of your day. In your mind's eye, go to one of your favorite nature spots. Maybe you're at the ocean. Maybe you're in the mountains surrounded by majestic trees. Or you're somewhere else. I'd like you to see yourself there in that perfect bit of nature and start to notice what you're seeing in your environment. What are you hearing? What are you feeling in your body? Now imagine in your mind's eye you could go there to that lovely nature spot and take a deep breath in of that high quality air. And exhale out the earlier part of our conversation and any free floating thoughts. Let it go. Good. Notice your feet flat on the floor. And imagine out of the bottom of your feet, you have your own grounding roots. Just like a tree has its roots that nourish, strengthen, and stabilize it. Now imagine you can have your roots coming out of the bottom of your feet. And you're going to travel with those roots all the way to the center of the earth. And you're going to plant your roots in that circle of light that's in the center of the earth. Plant your roots. Now imagine that any resistance that you have in your body, any discomfort at all, anything blocking the love and the light from entering your cells, allow it to flow down, 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 out your feet into the soil of the earth below. You might feel a bit of tingling as the resistance leaves you. You might feel a tingling in the bottom of your feet. Beautiful. Focus on your heart, your creative center. And as I ask this question, just assume you'll get an answer in the form of an image, a picture, intuitive sense, or words. Whatever it is fine. And it's okay if it's a blank as well. So focusing on your heart. Ask to be shown a memory where you felt relaxed, fulfilled, peaceful, satisfied, maybe even loved. And if you, when you see something, give me a little smile or raise your hand. Beautiful, Dominique. Thank you so much. Focusing on that moment in time, ask spirit, or what I also call true self, were you present in that memory, that moment? Beautiful, great. So we're going to ask your true self to take you back to the most recent time where you were in flow. You had this extraordinary well-being, life was good, and then something happened and you got tripped up. Tell me when you see that moment. Do you see it? Beautiful, beautiful. Now I'd like you to ask spirit or true self, what was so troubling about that situation? What was so troubling? And if you like, if you're getting something, you can speak this out loud. Are you getting a message, Dominique?
I am. Comparison.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, true self. We can all suffer from that. Okay, thank you. So true self, can you guide Dominique to recreate that moment in time where she recognized that she was comparing herself to someone else, and help her take it from a painful memory and situation to something that's deeply rich, fulfilling, like a 10. Perhaps she got the lesson like, oh gosh, I'm comparing myself. I'm going to do something to clear that mindset, clear that blocker. And maybe she connected to her heart, or she reached out to the person. How could she have handled that differently where she could have stayed in that high vibration? And I'll be quiet now while you imagine. What's coming to you, Dominique?
What's coming to me is that got a feeling of like lifting up into the air, just completely breaking free, and having that sense of just freedom.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay. So I really love that. That feels really good. So now let's combine, because we're not lying to ourselves here. We're taking what actually happened and we're bringing in that beautiful scene of you lifting up and flying in the air. So can you bring them both together and maybe make a bridge in there of that awareness, that thought, that shift, and create an imaginary experience? It's a 10 in fulfillment. Tell me when you get it to a 10, when you've been able to make that bridge. Beautiful. Surround that imaginary experience with a ball of white light and place it into your heart, your creative center. And I will make the request. This is an example of how Dominique would have liked to have created, handled, and perceived that situation. Please make that happen in the future, doing so in ways that are for the highest good of her and of all involved. Breathe that in and out, have it fill your body. And then when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Beautiful. Do you want to take a moment to write a few notes down that to anchor that memory? You can rekindle it if you get triggered, like all of us do.
Even though my feet were rooted in the beginning, they felt heavy, and afterwards, even though they were rooted and solid, there was that feeling of light, more of a natural root I felt than this needing to be down there. It was more of a
beautiful. Oh, so good, so good. All right, so I wanted to talk a little bit about also the Psycho Cybernetics, because that was interesting when I asked you what you had studied before, and I'm going to read this out for the listeners. You have studied Think and Grow Rich by Bob Proctor, done self-hypnosis, Psycho Cybernetics, and vision boarding. So can you tell me one of the things that you really liked about Psycho Cybernetics, and maybe something that you found was a limitation, it only took you so far? Talk a little bit about your experience.
Oh, I love Psycho Cybernetics. Both you and me have our thousands of little tabs in our book. Always going back to it. One of the things that really struck me that I actually found quite difficult to do, and eventually got over it, was the visualization, the imagination of creating yourself and recreating your story as you want it to be. And that I was like, oh, that sounds like fun. That sounds really nice on paper. And the more I tried to do it, the more I realized how much resistance I had to tapping into my imagination. Because as kids, and I've got 2 little ones, and they are always in the space of play and imagination. And that's one of the things that they've taught me, is that as adults, we have forgotten how to use our imagination.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we have forgotten how to play. So when our kids play with us, we don't play with them because we've forgotten how to. How do we pretend like there's a Barbie and, you know, making noises and doing a conversation? And how do we pretend to? And that was one of the things that I was like, wow, I can actually imagine me as a different person. I can recreate myself and recreate my story in the way that was always a nice idea.
Yeah, beautiful. So true, Dominique, about the imagination and the importance, especially for creating a new success identity, because that's something that Psycho Cybernetics, Dr. Maxwell Maltz, does brilliantly, describes that success mechanism, failure mechanism, and that he paints the picture so well of what we're capable of if we can create a new success identity. One of the things that, as I was reading through and did a deep dive several times through 3 of these books, is that there's techniques like imaginary experiences or visualization, but there's not techniques on how to really clear the resistance and the blocks that come up as we move forward in anchoring that success identity, which is one of the things that I notice in a lot of incredible work out there, even Dr. Joe Dispenza's work, incredible teacher of meditation. But when someone has that block come up, like, oh, I just can't sit here. I mean, it's been 10 minutes and I can't do it anymore. And their whole body wants to get out of the chair, is that we need tools and techniques to actually speak to those parts, calm those parts, get those parts aligned and in harmony with where we're going with spirit, so that instead of just using willpower and discipline and pressuring ourselves, we're coming from that positive alignment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I really like Psycho Cybernetics. I see that, especially because Maxwell Maltz, his heart is so open, and that it paints a fabulous picture of what's possible and has some techniques. And what I like to think of, what I teach in my work, it's like a second version of it. It's called Cybernetic Transposition, and I'll send you a link for a book you can get on Amazon if it's of interest, because I think it's going to really bridge things for you, so that you're going to like, oh, that's how I do that. Oh, that's what's tripped me up. And because of your deep study, I think you're just going to go zoom forward. Yeah. So it's Make Your Life a 10 by Stuart Lichtman, but I will also send you a link after. The imaginary play, so true. I was thinking back to my son, and his favorite thing is play cars and trucks, and I would fake it.
Yes.
I would fake it. It would feel terrible. It's like, I got to get out of this. I don't want to do this anymore. But I would do it for whatever 15 minutes that I agreed to. So imaginary experiences, creating those vivid ones and moving into play, is so helpful with manifesting. But a lot of people have blocks around the kinesthetic, actually feeling it, or the emotion, or, the visual, which is why vision boards are so popular. We are such a visual oriented human race right now. And that's okay. Yes, I can see the car, I can see the house, I can see that. But what happens is, if people rely on vision boards primarily, that can become it almost like a slap when we see it. I don't have the house yet. I don't have the car. I don't have the love of my life. And it actually triggers lack. So it can actually create even more contradiction in our body, right? Which is a blocker. It actually triggers blockers.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Because it's complete discomfort.
Right.
And it becomes to the point where I'm reaching too high. I'm reaching too much.
Mm-hmm.
And so I put this, picture of this massive mansion that I want on my vision board, but I've only ever lived in a flat. What are the chances? So this is rubbish. So then I'm going to look at this and feel worse about myself because I'll never reach there anyway.
Exactly. And I like to think of it as we've got a conscious mind, which is the leader, and then we have a body, which is the storehouse of the unconscious mind. Well, the body is the doer. It's taking action, and it's saying, she's lying to herself. We're not going to pay any attention. Go back to sleep, guys. We're not doing anything towards this anymore. It's not real, which is why I love when I work with people is that it's got to be realistic. It can be a big objective. And as long as someone has had one meaningful success in their life where it was, I don't know, they could have, run the 4-minute mile or something. It doesn't have to have anything to do with what they're working on now. But we transpose that success and we bring it into the future of what they want. So it's really different. That's the transposition part of cybernetic transposition. Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. So good. So good. Yes. So I want to see if I covered everything there. Okay.
The one thing you said was about Psycho Cybernetics and what are the limitations, or for me, what came up was that there's so much to the book. There's so much wisdom and so much to take in. And that's where I feel the limitation is. It's because it's a journey. You can't read the book once or twice and go, okay, cool, I've got it. Or, well, this is never going to work for me. And that's the thing. It's not just the book, but then you've also got the vision boarding, and you've also got other books, and you've also got your meditating, and so you've got so many different things. So the limitation is not you. It's your understanding to where you need to get, right? And so you can read the book 20 times, and each time you get a deeper understanding. Each time, we're all onions, and each time a layer comes off.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I think what you said was key is it's a journey. And I think we are sold quick fixes. And I've been at fault too, because that's what people are looking for. And they really want to solve their problem fast. But the development of our consciousness and becoming effective manifestors from alignment takes growth. I mean, it is a journey. And so, yes, every piece. And then I think one of the things that can be helpful is to see the phases of our journey in manifesting. So I'd like to recap those if you would like, Dominique, and kind of give you a sense of where I see you might be. I've seen 5 phases in the study that I've done of manifesting, and the work that I do is phase 1 is pushing and forcing using willpower or kind of giving up and staying in status quo. This is where a lot of the human race is that uses SMART goals, and it's measurable and all that, and there's nothing wrong with goal setting, but if we don't bring in that sweet energetic flow of manifesting, it's hard. So the second phase of the manifesting success journey is frustrated and frantic, taking random action and not succeeding. And this stage is when we're jumping at anything that looks like it could solve the problem. We're doing EFT, we're doing NLP, we're doing this book, we're doing this program. And we're not actually able to go deep into one thing because we're at this very kind of high beta consciousness. Got to solve the problem. So that over time will actually pull someone back into phase 1 because they don't have the clarity and the foundation of what they want. So the best thing to do is commit to one thing for at least 30 days. And then phase 3 is letting go of control. And this is a surrender part. And I'm not saying surrender to the outside world, but to surrender to your intention and alignment with spirit and with true self. And it's that maintaining that hope and conviction that it's happening. It's happening. And I'm not the one steering the car right now. I think I am. So that's letting go of control. That's phase 3. And then phase 4 is manifestation momentum, clearing the blocks to receiving. And this is where you've gone through, the other phases, and you're recognizing, wow, I'm in this flow state. Oh, what happened? The negative thinking dragged me down. So this is where I see you at phase 4, actually. And you might, drop back into phase 3 with, trying to muscle it and recognize I do need to kind of surrender and let go of control. But that's beautiful. Kudos for you to be in phase 4. So phase 5 is when it's inspired action and results. And this is where it's manifesting with grace and ease. Now, you're unattached to the intention. You set it, you hold it lightly, you recognize your flow state. And if you feel out of flow, you've already mastered how to clear blockers from phase 4. And the key feature is you're taking more and more successful action that solves the core problem. So it sounds like you're mostly in phase 4, drop sometimes phase 3, but it seems like on the precipice to move into phase 5. So well done. Beautiful, beautiful.
Thank you.
All right. Do you have
to
any
view
questions?
To view it like that is really inspiring.
Yeah.
When you mentioned phase 1 and 2, and I was like, oh, and then phase 3, I'm like, yes. And then phase 4, I was like, yes. So to hear those phases and also to acknowledge that I'm there,
Yes.
Before I would be like, no, I'm definitely phase 4. Denial, but I'm phase 4. I know I'm phase 1, but I'll just say I'm phase 4. But
Yes.
now I'm actually feeling as though I'm there. So you say the manifesting like momentum. I'm like, yes, because that's.
Yep.
And then I have those moments and then I go back and then I.
Yes. But you're recognizing, which is the hallmark of phase 4. You recognize it. And it's not that we fall out of momentum and we doubt ourselves. It's how long do we stay in that doubt place, that disconnected place.
Yes.
We want to shorten the time and we want to get back into flow. So you're doing really, really well. All right. So let me see if there's anything else I want to wrap up. Oh, episode 68 of the Mindful Manifesting podcast goes into all of these 5 stages.
Okay.
If you want to listen to that one, I'll send you that too in the show notes. What the show notes? I'm going to create a Google Doc for you with my notes from our conversation and with some links if you want, for some freebie resources. All right. So we will wrap up and I would love to hear what your takeaway is from our time.
So you have got such a beautiful way of landing things, and your meditation the visualization that I just did, like I feel so light, like I actually feel almost out of my body. So that's so powerful. Like I've done many and I've done it with people, but you make it, wow. Whatever you do is really, really, really beautiful. So thank you for that. And my biggest takeaway is what you shared about being in phase 4. It's so heartwarming to know that all the work that I'm doing is being seen, it's being recognized. Not just me thinking it is, but actually hearing from you that what I'm doing is, it's not like I'm needing the words of affirmation, but we love it. And so I really appreciate you seeing that.
Beautiful. And we need a confirming mind. There's nothing wrong with that because we can tell ourselves stories. Sometimes they're negative and sometimes they're over the top, like optimistic and not realistic. That's why just to have a confirming mind that can recognize and also call us out on, we need that too, right?
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. I've so enjoyed our conversation. So as we start to wrap up, listeners, if you would like to experience a manifesting breakthrough, I will put a link in the show notes. And as we wrap up our conversation with Dominique, I would love to share how you can get in touch with her. So again, I didn't ask you before, but where can people get in touch with you? Facebook, Instagram, your website, if they want to know more about your work?
Yes, thank you. So my website is dominiquebrits.com.
Could you spell
so
it?
I've just yes, it's DOMINIQUE, and Brits is BRITS.com. And then you can reach me also Instagram, Dominique Brits, and then my Facebook page is also Dominique Brits Life Coach. So nice and simple.
Very easy, beautiful. So I'll put that in the show notes as well, everyone, for you to reach out to her. And thank you so much for tuning into this podcast. And remember, when you confirm yourself, you set your own path to success on your terms. So much love. Bye for now.